Men of God, please join with America's man's man in standing behind our good President Donald J. Trump and our armed forces and police officers. We cannot complain if our elected officials and our paid public servants, and that's what our armed forces and our local law enforcement is, paid public servants working on our behalf. At the same time, we can't sit back and do nothing, right? Because it's our responsibility at the end of the day as taxpayers, as citizens, as they are citizens, and it's their responsibility to take care of our own homes, of our own businesses, and to stand up to those who, out of their idleness, have nothing to do but to terrorize legitimate Americans who are trying to do the very best they can to run their businesses and homes in such a way as to make America great again and to protect our divine inheritance as those blessed by God with the seeds of greatness within us, God's exceptional nation, the land of the free, the home of the brave, America. Some of us that I've seen who say they support President Donald J. Trump have perhaps gotten a little bit frustrated lately, and they've said, well, all I see is President Trump just talking, and not doing anything. Well, let me ask you, what have you done? What have you done? Have you encourage that business to stand up and hold a sign in front of their business, or just put a sign in the window maybe that says rioters and terrorists are not welcome here? Have you organized your local neighborhood? Have you talked to your neighbors, even in passing, and said, hey, look, we need to make sure we get that vandalism cleaned up immediately so that we are not inviting terrorists and rioters, violent rioters, and police antagonists into our neighborhood, the people who antagonize the police, just for clarity. What have you done? Because our president is not our God, okay? We're not praying to our president. Our president is our duly elected, constitutionally elected, electoral college elected leader by the power vested in the Constitution by we the people, who were created by our Creator and endowed with inalienable rights. So, if you, and if you're watching this, I can only assume that if you're not one of the reconnaissance people for the left and the fake news, you are America-minded, and you have a passion for seeing that we all protect our divine inheritance as those who are among a great stock of people who have been given this great land, this exceptional nation of God's, the United States of America. These violent rioters in recent days, again, egged on by the fake news, which are partners in domestic terrorism in their own right. These violent rioters, these domestic terrorists, associates who are loosely affiliated or directly affiliated with Antifa, the fascist organization, which tries to market itself as anti-fascist when they're really all about violence and never about civil discourse. There's nothing Republican about them, and by Republican I don't mean that in a political sense. I mean Republican in the fact that the United States of America is a republic, and so when I say Republican I mean American. There's nothing Republican, there's nothing American about Antifa, of course, and of course if you're watching this video I'm sure you already know that. But the purpose here is to remind you that our president is a good man, and he is trying oh so hard. He is the best president we've had in my lifetime, perhaps even more faithful to the Constitution and to God and his holy Protestant work ethic, which founded this nation, this city on a hill, than President Trump is more faithful to that than President Reagan in my estimation, my educated estimation of the situation. So President Trump is doing all that he can. Now, we should ask in this case, as much as I hate to say it, we should ask that we ask ourselves, what can we do for our country? What can we do to help our good president, who's rallying the troops, who's putting more minorities back to work than ever before, even more than the minority president, whom we were to be civil, we're so blessed to have in the last election cycle. But you get the idea. President Trump is a good man, and all of us, men of God, men of America, need to stand behind him. And of course, your women are standing behind you as well. This is America's man's man, asking all men, exhorting all men to support the holy, patriotic, and good Christian American mission of the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, ever faithful to the Constitution's guiding light, to liberty, to justice, to the American way, if you will. To not look at him as the solution to all of our problems and be disappointed when he isn't, but to let the Christ shine in you, to let the light of Christ shine in you, to let that Christ show in everything that we do, as we faithfully stand behind our ever faithful to America, ever faithful to God, President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump, and we support everything that he does, and we do so in the name of God in the United States of America, as we work to be faithful fathers, faithful brothers, faithful citizens in our local communities first, and citizens of the United States of America, ever shining our light for the entire world to be blessed by. We are God's exceptional nation. Now let's get behind President Donald J. Trump and start acting like it. This is America's man's man.